Alright guys, we just got our first taste at some of the best China teams override robots, matches, and strategies, and today I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about the Wuhan Invitational Championship that just happened. Alright, so this is the finals match of the high school division, and on the right here we have a very strong China team 54001Z from Xi'an, and on the blue alliance, we also have one of their sister teams, and of course their alliance partners as well. But alright, so as the match starts, of course, auto at the start. So as auto starts, clearly, of course, China not really known for having super good autos, but also this early in the season, we're not expecting to have super good autos. It seems like all of them kind of missed a bit, but I mean, it's pretty okay for the first competition in China. But yeah, so we can see Red wins auto, so they have a small advantage. It'll help them during the match. So now that driver starts, we can see there's not a lot of pushing and shoving near the start of the match. They're mostly just kind of driving in their own quadrants, own places. Not a lot of pushing and shoving like with the other alliance or anything. But here we can see these three robots, they're kind of like getting distracted by this one blue robot here. And at this point, right, blue has already started scoring their colors on this regular goal. And red now is kind of also starting to score. And red's strategy in this match, they're kind of just scoring as many yellows as they can. And we can also see a red robot here. They're not doing anything. They're literally just keeping that toggle red. And this toggle is extremely important. This robot actually doesn't need to score at all on these goals at all, because the toggle is the most important, right? We can see this robot here, 54001Z, they're kind of scoring all yellows. So if they lose that toggle, it's game over for them. So all they have to do is keep one toggle and they get a super big advantage, because yellows are more, like there's more points than these just normal colored ones. And so at this point, right, blue clearly has a disadvantage because they're down points because they're scoring their own colors instead of all yellows, and they don't actually have that many yellows. They only have like 3 here and 1 over there, while red has just a bunch of yellows in total. And so of course red still has their toggle here, and they're just completely building those towers on their own side. So now that we've watched the match, I want to take a look more deeply into the strategy. So you might have also noticed this while watching the match, but really most of the gameplay, scoring, everything is just done in these two quadrants, right? Like there's really nothing being done in these two quadrants. And the reason for that is because both teams' match loaders are in this single quadrant. So of course, VEX gives us a lot of match loads this year, right? And not only that, you can decide which orientation you're putting your max loads in. You can change the cups orientation, you can change the pins orientation. So this gives teams a lot of freedom. And even though every single one of these robots are capable of intaking from the ground, they all still go to the match loaders first. And this is because the intaking from the ground is just a waste of time at the start. Really, there's no need to intake if you can just match load. It's much faster and it's more reliable as well. And we can see this very clearly from Red Alliance. So, of course, they're focusing on this sector. Alliance, both of their robots are only in their dominant quadrant, which is the one with both match loaders. This red robot, it's a cascade lift, and it's basically just camping the toggle. It's not going anywhere. It's not really scoring. It's just camping. It tries to score there, but of course, it just goes straight back the moment that there's any threat. And so here, 54001Z, they're kind of just going all out and scoring, right? They don't have to worry about the toggle. Their alliance partner is doing that, and they can just take all of the match loads and score onto their goals. And so at this point, right, red is really coordinated. There's very clear roles. This red robot over here, they're doing all of the scoring, and this cascade red robot, they're just doing all the defense. So they don't really have to worry about anything else. There's not like switching roles mid-match or anything. It's very easy to practice. And they're also staying together the entire match. You get a lot of scoring opportunities just in your quadrant. So there's really no incentive to go to the other side. So now you might be wondering, right, why is this blue robot always moving towards the red side? And so, of course, they might have another strategy that didn't work out as they planned, but clearly blue is not very organized in this match compared to red. You can see blue alliance, especially this robot, it's kind of just roaming around at the start of the match. It's not really trying to score. I guess it's trying to mess up red's scoring on this side, but honestly, it's really hard to win a 2v1. Especially in this game. At this point, right, red just doesn't really have to do anything. Only this blue robot is doing much and scoring, right? So this blue robot, I guess you could say they're on offense, but this blue robot, not only do they have to score, but they also have to be protecting the toggles. You don't want your opponents ever to be able to do what they want. You want them to react to you, right? So blue line's, of course, in a very bad position here. But even though, blue isn't playing as strict as red is with the roles, it's still a major shift from like pushback, where almost every robot is playing defense, offense at the same time. I mean, this year I feel like we're going to see a lot more of specific team roles. Like one robot is just pure offense or scoring, and one robot is just pure defense, unless, of course, there's role changes. And even, at the start, we can see they've already planned this strategy out. All of their match loads are like this, yellow facing up, not a single one with their color. While blue, they're kind of playing a mixed strategy, right? They're scoring blues on their regular goal, and then they're going to be scoring yellows on their alliance goal, right? Yeah. So this is another strategy. So this is to play it safe. Your pins will always stay on this regular goal. It can't be descored. But if this toggle ends up getting flipped, you can just descore your own alliance goal, right? Get rid of all the yellows, and the toggle won't be that big of an issue for you. All right, now I want to talk about the robots in this match. So this is one of the teams. They use a double reverse 4-bar. And one thing that's really interesting about this robot, not really common in other robots, does not use pneumatics at all. So it's kind of similar to the Banshee robot. No pneumatics. It's only 11-watt double reverse 4-bar. They have a 5.5 watt in the front for toggles. And you can see that this robot is a roller claw, right? It's not a traditional pneumatic pistonized claw or similar to the Banshee in the zone claw. This is like a horizontal intake with flex wheels, and it's kind of acting as a claw. And then we have two 5.5 watts on each side powering the flex wheels. And then we have a 5.5 watt on the bottom, which opens and closes the claw. So it's a bit motor hungry, but this is the simplest way you can do it. But the reason why this claw is very important, and why almost every robot in that finals match was using a similar type of intake claw hybrid, is related to how I said that almost every team is just solely doing match loading. Because if you have to rely on a claw to pick up your match load from the match loading station, you're going to have to be precise, right? You're going to have to line up and then press another button to grab the claw. But with a passive claw or intake claw hybrid like this, all you have to do is just drive in. You don't even need to be super precise with it. As long as the stack kind of slides in, that's all you need to do. And so this just makes cycle times a lot faster and easier for drivers. Their toggle mech is a bit different. So they use an entire 5.5 watt motor for this toggle mech. And I know a lot of people will be choosing a passive toggle mech over a motorized one, but one good thing that this does have is that it's able to spin in either direction. For some of the passive toggle mechs, you're gonna have to move in and out 2 times just to get it to your color. Not for every toggle, but some of them you will need to. And that's putting you at a disadvantage because you're giving your opponent time to react. And they also have these anti-tip wheels. But yeah, this is a really interesting robot. They played pretty well in finals, and I think there's a lot to take away from it. So if you guys want to analyze this with your teammates, by yourself or something, and you want the full link to the match video, join the Discord in the link below, and that's going to be where everything is. So that's going to be all for today. If you guys liked this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps a lot.